Imagine a nation where 4.48 million children, nearly the entire population of Singapore, face lifelong physical and cognitive disabilities simply because they cannot access nutritious food. Well, this isn't a distant nightmare with the plight of Indonesia today. Despite being the world's fourth largest economy, about 20% of Indonesia's children suffer from stutter growth, and this figure reaches a staggering 34% in specific regions like Papua. Well, this isn't the end. Children also suffer from wastage, a condition which has mortality rates higher than tuberculosis and malaria. Here's the paradox. Indonesia produces enough food, yet 23 million people cannot meet their dietary needs. Why? Because food simply does not reach those who need it most. In 2023, when disasters struck, to be exact, more than 5,000 disasters, 8.7 million people lost food access overnight. And in regions like Papua, food costs 2 to 3 times more than in Java due to distribution failures. The problem isn't scarcity. It's the invisible barriers between abundance and access. This crisis costs Indonesia $30 billion annually. This is about 3% of the nation's entire GDP. In 2025 alone, almost $7 billion was allocated towards food security. And guess what? Only 60% of the food aid reached its intended beneficiaries. And why is this so, you may ask? Well, 40% of remote islands lack village-level data, creating massive blind spots that traditional approaches simply cannot address. So, at this rate, Indonesia can only achieve its zero hunger by 2070, 45 years too late. So where exactly are we going wrong?
We often focus on food production in Indonesia, but the bigger issue is, does everyone have equal access to that food? First, the Food Systems Dashboard combines global data sources such as food prices collected from the Food Nutrition Data Hub, such as cost of an energy-sufficient diet, and more. But here's the problem. Such data collected is aggregated and doesn't reflect income level or regional disparities. Then there's FAO-LECT, a legislative database rich in Indonesia's food policies, but knowing the laws isn't enough. What's missing is a way to measure impact on the ground, especially for remote and marginalized communities. This disconnect between policy and lived reality reveals a critical gap that we must bridge. Other datasets like the Food and Agriculture Microdata Catalog or agricultural census surveys collected by Badan Pusat Statistik collect household-level data. However, these are only updated every few years. Timeliness is crucial, especially when you're trying to respond to hunger in real time. This reveals several blind spots. First, there's an overemphasis on financial access to food, with little to no attention to geographic or infrastructural barriers. As such, we can't tackle access to food in regions of high prevalence of stunting, such as Papua, East Nusa Tenggara, and Sulawesi. Next, rural and indigenous communities are often invisible in our data. Their voices are excluded from both policy and metric design. As such, national averages hide deep inequalities between Java and outer islands. Third, there is no framework to measure policy effectiveness at the grassroots. While Indonesia is embracing AI for productive agriculture, it lacks tools that track the translation of policy to impact. To address this, we recommend integrating the Effort Translation Index framework to ensure policies don't just look good on paper but reach the people they're meant to serve. To truly solve food insecurity, we need to move on from overgeneralized insights to localized, equity-driven intelligence. With AI tools like remote sensing, we can bridge that last mile, ensuring food is available but accessible for all.
This is why we are introducing SapaPangan, an AI-powered solution that combines both geospatial AI and real-time market and infrastructure data. We aim for SapaPangan to be first visible, measurable, and lastly, actionable. Firstly, we'll map out distances from villages to main roads and markets. Using Sentinel-2 satellite images, Google Earth, as well as publicly available road network maps, we will compute the household to market distances. This helps to flag out isolated villages, especially in Papua, where villages are over 10 km away from the nearest road and market. These isolation zones identify aligns with SFVA's vulnerability classifications, enabling Indonesian government to prioritize provision of food aid. Next, routes for food aid delivery. We will cross-reference aid distribution plans with road conditions and weather event data. This highlights villages that were left off the food distribution list or cut off due to weather events or natural disasters. This prompts agencies to launch immediate action by rerouting the aid. But access isn't just physical, it's economic as well. AI-powered scraping of line group chats, where farmers can input their cost of goods from various provinces, together with official market price bulletins from the Kementerian, we aim to extract real-time crop prices and create regional price heat maps. Using blockchain-enabled messaging tools, we can then broadcast the fair prices to all independent farmers. The data on these live dashboards can be visualized by both the ministry, end users, and other stakeholders involved. This includes all the other ministries as well as governmental bodies in Indonesia. These stakeholders are key in helping us scale this solution by providing us with data pipelines, infrastructure, as well as communication channels. By including both the physical and economic aspect of food access, it aids the governmental agencies to budget and monitor the food aid across the entire nation. It also helps independent farmers bypass the exploitative structures set by the middlemen.
To ensure that SapaPangan delivers real on-the-ground impact, ETI comes into play. ETI is a composite pipeline tracking how efficiently resources are translated from one stage to the next, from government policy and budget planning to program rollout by ministries, next food delivered to villages, and lastly improvements in food access and well-being. Each stage has its own conversion rate and ETI tracks it quantitatively, showing us exactly where it breaks down. Over time, as our program is launched, the ETI should increase following the access of food aid.
To ensure our long-term impact and accountability, our team has put together a 5-year financial plan that is based around the IFRS standards for non-profit organizations to implement and scale our SapaPangan solution in Indonesia, funded by a grant of $500,000. What plan? Well, this one. The plan follows an accrual-based model, aligning expenditures with milestones. In year 1, the focus is on system design, stakeholder workshops, and the government integration, setting a strong foundation with an allocation of $120,000. Years 2 and 3 are the most intensive, where we pilot the system across 3 high-need provinces, Papua, Kalimantan, and NTT, using satellite imaging, mobile data collection, and the Effort Translation Index to track food aid effectiveness. Year 2 and 3 have 140,000 and 80,000 allocated, respectively. By year 4, 80,000 is budgeted for government training and regional scale-up, while year 5 focuses on full handover and knowledge transfer with the final $80,000. Throughout, approximately 82% of funding supports the program directly, with the remainder covering essential administrative and evaluation functions.
So, where do we go from here? As we shared, access is physical, digital, and deeply unequal across regions. At its core, our Effort Translation Index would trace every step. It ensures that policy does not just stop at paper. It would trace the delivery of a bag of rice all the way to a village doorstep.
By integrating geospatial analytics, satellite monitoring, and community source data, we bring real-time visibility to gaps that have long gone unseen.
Like blocked food aid routes in Papua or price shocks in Sulawesi. This is not just a theory. This is the power of smart, targeted governance, and this impact lies in ensuring fair, reliable access to food for all of Indonesia. Small farmers gain market power with real-time price data, empowering fairer deals, improving the ability to supply food sustainably. Indigenous communities are finally not overlooked and have their local crops, needs, and knowledge recognized and integrated into policy. Remote households also no longer remain isolated with satellite monitoring.
For government agencies, this translates into targeted action. The Ministry of Agriculture can strategically direct their resources and extend services exactly where food access challenges are greatest. And the Ministry of Health gains early warning signals to prevent malnutrition and hunger crisis. The Ministry of Environment ensures that improved food access aligns with sustainable climate-smart practices. Indonesia is at a critical moment. The 5-year plan for SapaPangan brings a system that listens, adapts, and works with the local government and community to anticipate and prevent food shortages before they reach vulnerable communities. By 2030, no Indonesian should face malnutrition because food access was delayed or blocked. Zero hunger begins today with SapaPangan through smart data, proactive consideration, and a commitment to timely, reliable nutrition for all.